Hey guys, so I just finished writing my review of the Silka Choir, the 8D of Silka Choir. Um, I wanted to just do a little video. This is something I wrote a while back. When I first got it, I just put this together, like really simple of the arcs, basically. Um, Performance-wise, just so everyone could hear what it sounds like. Kind of a demo. Anyway, here's what it sounds like, because it sounds awesome when you play the arcs. So I'm going to start off with this awesomeness, and then I'm going to dive in and show you some of the things I don't like about it. But here we go. Okay, a lot of people are probably just going to like skip through this anyway. But something I mentioned in the review is the polyphonic legato, where you see these little shifts in the notes in the middle of the chord that allow them to sing the same syllable but shift in between those notes in between. It was really cool to just kind of play around with this, and you get a lot of different subtle undertones and harmonics going on in this little thing. Like, just have them kind of do this. See that little shift from D down to C, just right there, was very subtle, but it adds a lot to the performance. So the arcs are amazing. they're pre-recorded, or excuse me, like predetermined phrases, so they sound good. You know, where you use Hollywood Choir's word builder, you're kind of inventing things for them to say with the phonetics and everything. So here, they've recorded them singing it, so in the natural dynamics and the natural pronunciation and everything. Okay, so I'm back. I'm magically changing to a sweater. Anyway, I was talking about the polyphonic legato and how nice that is. And see, it's really cool to be able to do that and change within the same syllable without going to the next one and having the legato on multiple notes so you can shift the chord like that. Anyway, let me also point out, because, you know, my review wasn't all positive. I gave it a 7 out of 10 because the arcs sound amazing, absolutely amazing. But there are some things that are bad. So, let's look at the fast repeated staccato notes. They aren't really in sync with my click track there. Which is, again, I mentioned, this thing works when you have a really slow track and you have a lot of breathing room. If you have a steady tempo in your track, this product doesn't work. It's as simple as that. It's an amazing product, but it's also $600. I paid $348. That was the intro price. I have to review this as if I paid $600 because that's what everyone else is going to pay. It's overpriced. Hands down. Oops. So I'm just showing that see, that's gonna work good on its own. If you have something like that click track, if you have a driving rhythm, if you have short staccato strings or whatever, obviously this is not meant for, you know what I mean? Even if you have a slow rhythm, a steady rhythm, this is gonna sometimes not be in sync with that rhythm, which is one of the things I pointed out in the review. Legato is good. I like the legato intimate the most. But like I said, like, you play a single note with any choir, I think it sounds like shit. To be honest, I like choirs for chords, especially samples. That's why I said this works best in lower dynamics. You can hear some phasing and everything. For the most part, the lower dynamics sound good. The legato transitions are good, but this isn't the best. In their defense, I think any choir library, you play just one solid note. it's gonna sound like crap. There's gonna be it sounds synthetic and fake. I don't know if there's any way around that. So, another thing I pointed out was how the legato intimate sustains indefinitely as long as you hold that note. The one actually called legato sustains don't actually sustain. They cut off after a certain time. That's really not a big deal. It's just kind of funny they call it sustain, but it doesn't. Okay. This one is weird, the sustains. I know this is going to be mostly negative. I'm just trying to point out these things because you can hear all the amazing things in the official demos, right? The arcs are amazing. Don't ever forget that because I'm kind of bashing on it a little bit here. See, that sounds great, but for a $600 choir library, I'm gonna need just standard sustains. O, ah, oo, I'm gonna need those sustains. It's part of any choir library. This O, it sounds great, but it's in an arc. So it does have a definite beginning and end where it swells up. And, honestly, if I pay $600 for a choir library, I need sustains that sustain indefinitely, and I can control dynamics exactly with the mod wheels with CC01. So I just think this is kind of a strange choice. You get kind of like effects-driven sustains here. If you want to have a choir of bees, you've got it. That's kind of interesting. But still, where are my standard sustains? I don't know what that is. Kind of sounds ridiculous. Trills are good. So yeah, we get one syllable for the staccatos, which is, sometimes standard with these things. I like the triplets. They just kind of add texture. It reminds me of like heaviosity vocalies, where you have one female singer doing this kind of thing. It just adds some nice texture. And as you can see right here, I had it play double time. This will sync with your DAW's tempo, and you can play half time. Okay. They all kind of sound drunk. Now they all kind of sound like they're on speed. Anyway, I like the triplets. I mentioned that in my review. And again, the arcs are where this thing is going to shine. But I also wanted to point out, if you notice in my demo track here, notice how my BPM is 90. But like I mentioned before, this is why some things with a steady rhythm don't really, is not going to be what this library is for. And I guess I mean steady as in continuously driving. You know, I'm pointing to the screen like you can actually see it. I had right here this chord extended past the actual, so if you're doing it in 4/4, where it would go into the next one, because of they kind of linger on that last note and they pronounce it very slowly, which is awesome for the realism for the slow stuff. But you're going to have to play, because each syllable is also a little bit different. You're going to have to play with that a little bit. And let them linger a little bit longer than you might normally do in order for them to finish the syllable. Hear how they draw out that last part and finish it up nicely. But if you want them to completely finish like that, you're going to have to drag them out further, like so, than what you would normally do for a track. So those are just some little things. You know, the arcs are amazing. My biggest complaint in the review was the price. Also, they have Untitled Choir, which sounds very similar. I've even had someone comment on my YouTube video. I did like a kind of a first look with this track actually. And he was like, "What do you know the difference? It sounds amazing. Do you know the difference between this and Enceladus?" Because I have Enceladus, and I just had to tell him like I don't own it. I don't know the difference, but I would not buy Silka if I owned Enceladus because they sound very similar, and they're both $600. Some people on the forums even said this sounds like maybe an expansion of Enceladus. So I don't know. I do know I think it's overpriced. You can read my full review here. You know, I also have like Genesis Children's Choir. This right now, $278. I also compared it to Fluffy Audio's Indominus, which, excuse me, not Indominus, Dominus Choir by Fluffy Audio. And that has very similar features for, I think it's $379. So, for instance, I'm just doing this purely for feature comparison. This is a children's choir, but it has that same polyphonic legato with see, they were all staying on this mi syllable and doing different notes within that. This thing is under $300 right now. It's on sale, but normally it's $400. my review for Silka might have been a little bit higher had I not gotten this and realized what other technology is out there. Granted, I was looking at a lot of demos, but actually playing with it is different. And Genesis Children's Choir performs just as good as Silka, and it's $400 full price. Granted, it's only children, but you look at the features here, and they are they're similar. I would even say they're better in quite a few ways. So, I gotta compare it to that kind of stuff. Anyway, it's just I'm kind of rambling now. Thanks for checking this out.